remember, like many of you guys, vividly the election of 2016. I remember going to sleep with a deep sense of dread and then waking up, shocked to learn that our new president won despite losing to 2 million votes. Back then I didn't understand how 2 million votes could mean so little, how it made no difference in the election. And today, I still don't understand how we live in a country that calls itself democratic but ignores the will of the majority. Now, through different campaigns, I worked with politicians on a local and national level, and for my history and government classes, I've realized and learned what is making our sense of government so undemocratic, and that is the Electoral College. And so today in my speech, I'm going to explain to you what the Electoral College is, why it is hurting our country, and how to solve it. And so, my very first point is, what exactly is Electoral College? I'm sure many of you guys have heard in your classes, and maybe you've heard it, thrown around every now and then. But if you don't know what it is, I'm going to explain to you what exactly Electoral College is. And to start, it was established in 1787 at the Constitutional Convention. According to History.com, it wasn't meant to ever be the perfect system. The Founding Fathers put it in because it was actually a compromise between the parties. You see, the delegates there were split on whether doing indirect or direct voting to find out the new president. And so, because they could not find a way to agree on direct or indirect, they decided to compromise, and that is where the Electoral College comes in. According to the USGovernment.com, the Electoral College is a two-step process. The first step starts in November, which is where we have our general election for the president. And so this is where everyone comes out and they vote for who they want as their next president. And that vote doesn't actually go towards the president exactly. It goes to the states, and it determines which candidate the state is going to give its electoral votes to. And so that's the first process. The second step to the Electoral College process is the electors from each state in December are going to meet together, and they're going to put in their votes from their states on who they want to be the president. And this is determined by who won the majority in each state. And so what it comes down to for each president candidate is they just have to win 270 electoral votes, not popular votes. In fact, a president could be up by 5 million votes or be down by 5 million votes. But as long as they have 270 electoral votes, then they are the new president. And so now you understand exactly what the Electoral College is. Let me explain to you why it doesn't work and why it's bad. So my second point is the issue with the Electoral College. Now, the Founding Fathers had a really good reason for making Electoral College, just besides the compromise part. And that is because they didn't believe that each person had enough resources to make an informed decision when voting for the next president. And this is actually a very fair assumption, because back in the 1700s, a lot of people were illiterate, so they couldn't even read. And if they could read, there was very little access to newspapers. And in the rural areas, there was very little access to neighbors or other people because they lived so far away from each other. And so they couldn't even call up their friends and ask them about the candidates. But today, in the 21st century, we have easy access to the internet. We have newspapers at our fingertips. We have people that we can dial away from another country or another side of the world or across our neighborhood. It's that easy to text people and call people and find out what they know about the candidates. And so today, that reasoning for the Electoral College is null and void. It no longer makes logical sense in today's sense. And additionally, according to PewResearch.com, the United States is the only country in the world that has an electoral college system. In fact, out of 41 other countries with democratic systems very similar to ours, 33 of them only use direct election to elect their next president. We are not one of those countries. And what this shows is that most countries that are similar to ours see indirect elections as being both less efficient and less democratic, which is why they do not use it. And if you have to remember anything from my speech, what I want you to take away from it is that the main issue with the Electoral College is that it ignores the will of too many voters. According to Christopher Pearson of National Convention of State Legislators, the winners-take-all system is causing 70% of American votes to be ignored. And this is due to several reasons. One of those reasons is that presidential campaigns focus on only a few states in our nation. And those are the battleground states. And those are the states where it is 50-50 on if they're going to swing Democrat or Republican. And in 2016, 2/3 of the general election the general election campaigns took place in only 6 states. That is a fraction of the amount of states we have in our country. And what this shows is that our votes are more, our country, the system we have in place, is more concerned with where we vote and where we're from rather than who we actually vote for. It shows that our individual votes have very little power compared to where we're actually at. And so that is the issue with the Electoral College. So now that we know why the Electoral College is harmful to our country's democracy, let me explain to you what we can do to solve this problem. So my final point is, how do we fix the system? Simple. We abolish it. We abolish Electoral College. Now this is a very simple solution, but to actually getting there is a little more complicated because it requires an amendment to the Constitution, and this is very tricky. But what you can do as an individual to help this process go along to abolish Electoral College is by electing congresspeople who understand the issue of Electoral College and understand why it's bad. And if that's difficult or you need another thing to do, you can easily call up, email, text, reach out to your current congresspeople and let them know your views on Electoral College and explain to them why they should support amendments on abolishing it. And so that's what you can do, because the Electoral College makes every vote unequal. It puts states' votes over individual votes. And this is not just a party issue. This isn't a Republican issue or a Democrat issue. This is an issue as a country. Because it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat in Indiana or a Republican in California, your vote is as equally unvaluable. And so, by abolishing the Electoral College, you are making each vote actually equal. Additionally, according to the New York Times, people already actually see themselves as voting for the president and not for who their state's going to vote for. And so by abolishing Electoral College, you're not really changing the general public at all. What you're actually doing is aligning reality to the general consensus. And that is what we should be doing. And so I hope after my speech you understand why it is so important for us to abolish Electoral College and how it is damaging our country. Because it is ignoring votes. It is making our democracy less democratic, and most of all, it is hurting our country. And for these reasons, we need to abolish Electoral College. I hope that you guys spread this awareness to other people in your life, and I know together we can solve this problem.